Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome here as we get ready for our second race of the Chase for the Championship here in the playoffs for the Duracell Cup Series Season 2. Getting ready to go left and right here today at the Charlotte Roval, a track that definitely played a factor into last year's playoffs, and we'll get to why in just a moment. But as we get set for the Bank of America 400 here at the Roval, some drivers coming off last week at Coca-Cola Night, they had good runs. They're coming in with a pretty good cushion, back to 12th in points, which is the spot everyone wants to either be in or above when we get to next week's Indianapolis elimination race. And we've got some drivers that really struggled last week. We had a lot of violent hits at Coca-Cola, a lot of big wrecks, and as a result, number of drivers come into this race either below or right near that 12th in the standings cut line. They need good runs here today. And last week, we saw Ryan Butcher pick up his first win of Season 2, second win of his career overall. That means that at this point in time, none of our 16 playoff contenders have locked themselves a guaranteed spot into the round of 12. That could change today as we have a playoff contender lined up on the pole position for today's race. Matter of fact, you look at the first two rows and you got teammates side by side. You got Joanna Atwood Motorsports on the front row, the Toyota Camrys of Ryan Acosta on the pole, team owner James Qualls on the outside of the front row. Then behind them, you've got Carson Gum, playoff contender out of Team Chevy Autosport, his rookie teammate alongside of him, Derek Hamill in the 31. Something I noticed as well here too, both Carson Gum and Cole Baker came away with top 5 runs last week at Coca-Cola. They both start up inside of the top 5 here today, so they could find themselves maybe, possibly, dependent on how the rest of the competitors finish that are in the playoffs, they could find themselves, if they get a good run today, already locked into the round of 12 by the time we get to Indianapolis next week, points-wise, that is, not via a win. But a lot of playoff contenders starting up here towards the front. Some of them also ones that are struggling, that need a good run. You got Benjamin Miles lining up there in the 6th position. Now, he's kind of right in between. He's 7th in the overall points coming into this race. He is only 20 points back from the points lead, but he's also only 9 points ahead. He's only 11 points ahead of the 12th in the standings cut line, which right now is being held by Cody Lamas, who is going to roll off from the outside of row 6 in the 12th position. So we're going to keep tabs on all of this during the course of today's race. And why did Charlotte Roval last season play a huge factor into the outcome of the playoffs? Well, last year it came down in the final laps between playoff contenders at the time, Jesse Turner and Dylan Poteet. And it came down to the bus stop over on the NASCAR back straightaway here at Charlotte, where Jesse Turner bumped Dylan Poteet going into the corner in the battle for the race lead. Poteet spun around, got into the tire barriers. He suffered a DNF. Turner went on to win the race. Turner locked himself up a spot in the round of 12. Of course, 1 week later in Indianapolis, Poteet went to victory lane, so both of them advanced to the round of 12. But definitely shows that this track, even down into the closing laps, can play a factor into who's going to move on to the next round of the playoffs and who isn't. Without further ado, let's go down trackside, get those most famous words in motorsports, then we'll show you your starting lineup and give you your point scenario for the playoffs coming into this race.
Drivers, start your engines!
So command given, and coming into this race, really 3 drivers are in good shape as far as getting another good run here today, and they may find themselves advanced into the round of 12. We already mentioned Carson Gum, we already mentioned Cole Baker. Well, Carson Gum comes into this race as your current points leader in the playoff standings. He holds a 3-point advantage over Dylan Young, who finished second to Ryan Butcher last week at Coca-Cola. He was the highest finishing playoff contender last week. Cole Baker right now 3rd in points. He's 6 points out. 14 points out in 4th is Zach Rogers, and Carter Friesen is 5th in the standings. He is 16 points back. He's actually tied with Michael Norman for 5th. They are both minus 16 to the points leader. Benjamin Miles, we already mentioned, 7th in the points coming to this race, 20 points back. Then you got Ryan Brommer, a former road course winner from this season. He is 8th in the standings, 22 points back. 24 points back in 9th is Johnny Gardner. Ryan Acosta, our pole sitter today, is 10th in the standings, 28 points back from the lead. Jesse Turner, the defending winner of this race. He's 11th in points, 29 points back, only 2 points ahead of the cut line, which right now is held by Cody Lamas, who is 31 points out of the top spot. And the drivers that come into this race in the danger zone. Matt McIntyre, he's 13th in points. Jordan Lopez, 14th. 15th is Levi McIntyre, and Trey Wright in 16th. All of them suffered either DNFs or were way off the pace in last week's race. Matt McIntyre 1 point behind 12th in the standings. 2 points back is Jordan Lopez. 6 points back is Levi McIntyre, and 7 points back is Trey Wright. 25 laps of racing here today at the Charlotte Roval. As teammates Ryan Acosta and James Qualls get us underway, let's roll at the Roval. Battle going to be for the race lead here between Qualls and Acosta. Who's going to get the spot? Qualls will have the inside advantage into these next two right-handers. Ryan drives it a little bit wider, though, through the corner. He's going to get around Qualls, and he'll take the spot away. So Acosta will hold the lead. Qualls slots back in second. Carson Gumm's going to go to third. Hamill drops to fourth. Benjamin Miles right now in the fifth position. Cole Baker follows in sixth. LaPlante seventh. Then teammates Kukulon and Almriego in eighth and ninth. And right now in that 10th spot would be the 84 of Cody Lamas. Cody Lamas. Boy, Ryan got a good corner there, getting onto the NASCAR turn 1 and out of NASCAR turn 2. Heading down for the bus stop. One of the most treacherous corners on the track. We'll see how he approaches it. Approaches it pretty well. You see that tire barrier right there sticking out. That is what everybody tries to avoid, because that is usually where everybody that messes up the corner ends up. Dylan Young trying to make a pass here on Alexander Rowe, who might have gotten that tire barrier. See a little bit of left side damage on the 24 car. This is another dangerous area, and that's why. You see Matthew Rodriguez spun around there, a heavy braking zone. Some drivers brake earlier than others, some brake later. And we got another spin up here that Zach Rogers spun around in front of Adam Garcia, but they have not thrown the yellow. We are still green. So despite Matthew Rodriguez spinning in the chicane on the front straightaway, and despite Zach Rogers spinning afterwards, they did not throw the yellow. That drops Rogers all the way back to 39th. A driver that came in fourth in the points, was needing a good run, and I also see damage there on Matt McIntyre in the 7, front end damage. He really could not have a bad run here today, because he came into this race in one of the danger zone positions, 13th. There's the defending winner, Jesse Turner, all the way back here in 34th as well. I think that was due to a poor qualifying result. Dylan Young, I think, got held up by somebody. He was up there battling earlier with Alexander Rowe. Oh, and there's a lot of damage on the boxy Chevrolet of Jessica Shelton. I almost wonder if she might have been the one that got into the back of Matthew Rodriguez going into that final corner. Well, Jordan Lopez got jacked up apparently too. Rear end damage on his machine. So I'm not sure who ran into whom. We got another car around. That's Sean Galligan making his Duracell Cup Series debut. Driving the road courses here during the playoffs for Backmarker Motorsports, and he got into the back of somebody. And that one brought out a caution. So caution is out for the first time today here at the Charlotte Roval. And we had quite a number of incidents before that yellow flag flew, and the last guy that wanted to see that was Ryan Acosta. He had opened up almost a 3.5-second lead back to his teammate James Qualls. It's going to be interesting, too, with the timing of this yellow. I don't know if these drivers can necessarily still make it on fuel or not. I think they're going to still have to pit at some point, so I don't know if they'll give up the track position to come to pit road now or if they will later. And I think we actually are racing back to the line, too, because Ryan Acosta was past the start-finish line when the yellow flag came out. So he has yet to come around and take the caution. Benjamin Miles got around Derek Hamill. That was for fourth, so now he's up battling for third with Carson Gumm. Let's watch this battle as they head to the start-finish line. See if anything comes of it. And doesn't look like it. Looks like Benjamin Miles going to be more than happy to cross the line behind Carson Gumm, at least for the moment. Ryan Acosta now going to get picked up by the pace car as we are under yellow for the first time here today. Let's go back and take a look at all the incidents that took place in the first 3 laps of this race here at the Charlotte Roval. Well, this wasn't a wreck, but this will show us how Matt McIntyre got that front end damage we saw here. You see, he was all the way in dead last, and he just drives it deep into the corner. Rookie Marcus Sacchi ahead of him was not willing to take it as aggressively, and kind of brake checked him, and there you can see the buckle on the hood of that 7 machine. Let's move a little bit further up here, because I believe we want to look at the 38 of Jordan Lopez, the 02 of Jessica Shelton. We saw Lopez had rear end damage, Shelton had front end damage. I have a feeling it's down here into this braking zone that the two of them are going to get together. And you watch further behind them, there's that Caterpillar Toyota of Matthew Rodriguez. I think he gets involved in the stack up as well. There you see it. Lopez slow into the corner. Shelton gets into him, and Matt Rod, I don't think got hit. I think he got hit from behind by either William Brock or Carter Friesen. Looks like it might have been the 88. See if we can get a better camera angle here going into this area. There you can see Shelton try to get on the brakes after she saw the 38 was way slower in front of her. Couldn't do it. And it was indeed William Brock that got into Matthew Rodriguez. And then there was an incident after this that involves the 6 of Zach Rogers. There he is. And he may have actually curb hopped here. We'll see. He's side by side with Benny Watson. Yep, curb hopped it. Got into the 75. Spins around in front of Adam Garcia. That's why Dylan Young lost so many spots. He got a little piece of this as well. And Alexander Rowe, the track is blocked up in front of him, and he loses some spots to Jesse Turner, Marcus Sachi, Matt McIntyre, and Matthew Rodriguez as a result. Now let's take a look and see what happened to Sean Galligan in the same corner. And this one was Sean Galligan catching up to this group. Thought he had a lot more room to be able to do a hard break into the corner and just runs into the back of Michael Norman. Well, Corey Williams last week was in the 25, finished 18th. Sean Galligan at the time was running the 22nd position. He's going to have some damage, obviously, there. We'll see if he'll be able to continue. I'm kind of wondering about the damage sustained by Michael Norman there on the back of his car, because he got clobbered pretty well. But that spin by Sean Galligan brings out the caution. That's also going to be a big break for Jessica Shelton, because I just saw her on pit road when this caution came out. If she is able to continue, she probably will still remain on the lead lap because of the timing of this yellow flag. So we'll document that as we get ready to go back for the restart and get ready to go back green. Lights are still on atop the pace car, so we will more than likely still have one more lap before the lights go out, and we will get the 1 to green signal. Ryan Acosta, the race leader. Right now in second place is Carson Gum. Third place currently is Benjamin Miles with Derek Hamill and Cole Baker, your top 5. You see Adam Garcia coming to pit road. I don't think these drivers were on pit road. And again, maybe they were, because James Qualls is all the way back now in the 6th position, and he was second when that caution came out. So, for a brief moment, we're going to go back. We're going to see if indeed these drivers did come to pit lane, and then we'll come back as we should be on the 1 to green signal halfway through this lap. Now, this is under replay, remember. This is not live. This is going back a couple of laps. Pit road was open. James Qualls did give up the 2nd spot to come to pit lane. You can see all those others behind him. So why are we focusing on this? Because this is a road course, and this means that these drivers that pit are going to be about 4 to 5 laps better on fuel than those drivers that did stay out. A strategy call that could potentially be a race-winning call, which is why we're giving it the focus that we are right now. So James Qualls, we'll see if this benefits him. Fortunately for him, a lot of others came to pit road, so he only lost about 4 positions with coming to pit road and topping off with fuel. Actually, correction, Qualls lost 6 spots as a result. He is going to restart back in 8th, but regardless, very interesting strategy as the top 7 drivers did not pit, and they will restart 1st through 7th. That is Ryan Acosta, Carson Gum, Benjamin Miles, playoff contenders 1, 2, 3, by the way. Derek Hamill 4th, playoff contender Cole Baker 5th, Sebastian Kukulon in 6th. 7th is playoff contender Cody Lamas. And then the first of the drivers to pit, James Qualls, restarts 8th. Vince Almriego 9th. Austin LaPlante in 10th. Let's find out where the rest of the playoff contenders are restarting. 5 of them up here inside of the top 10. Then you've got Ryan Brommer back in 14th. Got to go a long ways back before you find Trey Wright restarting 21st. Carter Friesen 22nd. Levi McIntyre in 23rd. Jesse Turner back in 27th. Johnny Gardner is 28th. Michael Norman 31st. Dylan Young 32nd. 35th is Jordan Lopez. Matt McIntyre 37th. And 38th is Zach Rogers. All 40 cars still running. 39 of them on the lead lap. You see the 12 of Adam Garcia will be starting on the inside line, so he'll be a little bit of a hindrance for these race leaders here, I would think, on the start. We'll see now, being a single file restart, if we will get into a long green flag run. And of course, if we get into a long green flag run to the finish, going to be very interesting to see about the fuel strategy call of James Qualls to see if that's going to get him the win or not. Heading into the restart zone. Green flag back in the air, and Ryan Acosta puts the pedal down. He is gone. Carson Gum now trying to get around the 12 of Adam Garcia so he can then set his sights on Acosta for the race lead. Looks like he's going to get around him cleanly. Battle here brewing, that's for 4th. And as soon as it starts, it finishes. Cole Baker going to take the spot away from rookie Derek Hamill. Now Benjamin Miles trying to get by the lap machine of Adam Garcia. And he will clear the 12 going into this right-hander. So the top 3 are clear of the lap machine. Cole Baker now next in line, as right now playoff drivers are 1, 2, 3, and 4 in the running order. Ryan Acosta had that huge lead before that last caution came out, almost 3.5 seconds back to then second place James Qualls. We'll see if he can put distance between himself and now the new second place machine of Carson Gum. A posse of Chevys trying to chase down a Toyota, as right now Chevy sits 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. And our battle might be for the 2nd position. Benjamin Miles had a nice exit through the chicane, and he is closed in on the back bumper of Carson Gum for that runner-up spot. Cole Baker, Derek Hamill for a moment. They were pretty close in that battle. Sebastian Kukulan, Cody Lamas. Lamas lost some ground there through the chicane. Now Austin LaPlante, James Qualls in that mix. And this is actually a battle right here that's very interesting because Qualls, LaPlante, and Almeriego all came to pit road. So right now they're battling to be the highest on track that has about 4 to 5 more laps of fuel in the tank than the drivers in front of them. So this is actually a very important battle going on right now, albeit for the 7th position. Or I'm sorry, 8th place, but still very important battle. How about Casey Nanico, who took a checkered flag a couple weeks ago at the season finale, regular season finale that is, at Auto Club. Right now up just outside of the top 10 in the 12th position. Auto Junction Racing has back-to-back victories now, with Ryan Butcher winning last week at Coca-Cola. Sebastian Kukulan going to get around Adam Garcia, so now the top 6 have cleared the 12 machine. As Ryan Acosta begins to put daylight between himself and the 2nd place battle yet again. Was about 2.2 seconds up last lap. Let's see about this lap. Does it increase? Does it decrease? Carson Gum hits the line. 3.7. Wow, he gained a 1.5 seconds. So Ryan Acosta, we know why he started on the pole. He's got a fast race car, but he also has another caution come out to foil his plans. And we'll have to see who was involved in this one. Oh, it looks like the chicane has claimed a victim. That is rookie Alexander Rowe, and it looks like he hit the tire barriers. So Ryan Acosta, again, we're racing back to the caution. The caution came out after Ryan Acosta had crossed the start-finish line. And this was a battle for 4th going to the start-finish line last time, I believe, or maybe it was 3rd when we had a caution. Now it's a battle for 2nd between Gum and Miles. Let's follow this as they'll head down the NASCAR back straightaway towards the chicane. Cole Baker you just barely see back there in the 4th position. Both cars cleanly through the bus stop. Looks like Carson Gum got the better exit there going into NASCAR turn 3. So looks like he'll hold on to 2nd place. And I think these drivers here may have just been in front of the start-finish line when the caution came out, which is why they're slowed down. They think they're under pacing. So it's going to take them a while to catch up here. Johnny Gardner I see back there, top of the screen. He might have been collected up in whatever this was. It looks like he's kind of back towards the rear of the field. Oh, and the 48 of Austin LaPlante's got damage as well. And remember, he was just up inside of the top 10. There's Gardner. Don't see any visible damage on the Hunt Brothers Pizza Toyota Camry. Doesn't necessarily mean he wasn't involved in some way, shape, or form with the wreck, though. And we'll have to see what happened to LaPlante, because he's dropped all the way back to the very rear of the field. And the last time we looked, he was battling with James Qualls and Vince Almriego for the 8th position. So Ryan Acosta leads the way. Pit road will be open. We'll see if maybe the top 7 will come to pit road now, and James Qualls might inherit the lead, or will everybody come to pit lane? We'll keep you abreast of that in just a moment. Let's go back and see what brought out our second caution of the day, just near the halfway point of our race here today, the Charlotte Roval. Well, the bus stop is not being kind to the Northeast Motorsports drivers here today. This did not bring out the caution, but this is what happened to Austin LaPlante in a battle with James Qualls. Two of them going to make some contact there going into the corner, and you can see LaPlante, there's no way he's going to be able to get out of that chicane without hitting something. You see he side swipes the tire barrier, goes up and pancakes the right side on the outside retaining wall. He brought that car to pit road here under green. That did not bring out the yellow, however. It was his teammate in the 24 that actually brings out the caution. Let's see what happens to him. And before that, on the exact same lap, just a couple cars behind the LaPlante incident, here's another playoff driver with a problem, Trey Wright. Oh my goodness! He didn't hit the tire barrier, but he certainly had his tires leave the racing surface, went up and hit the outside wall, and Kyle Matthews gets up into him as well. And remember, Trey Wright comes into this one 16th of the 16 playoff drivers, so he could not afford a bad run here today. And that was pretty extensive damage, both on the left and right side of his machine. So we'll keep an eye on him during the remainder of this race as well. So this is what brought the yellow flag out. This was back around the 34th position. Matt McIntyre, Jessica Shelton, Matthew Rodriguez all battling for spots. All had been involved in incidents earlier. And here you see Matthew Rodriguez just misjudges the exit, up and right into the wall, nose first, and nowhere for playoff contender Zach Rogers to go. Same for rookie Alexander Rowe, and that might be our first playoff contender to go behind the wall in Zach Rogers. Now, Zach came into this 4th overall in the playoff standings. He also had a just about 18-point cushion between himself and 12th in the standings. But with the fact that all the rest of the playoff contenders will probably continue and he's going to be DNFing, that may not mean much. So tough break there for Zach Rogers as his day comes to a close very early. There you see LaPlante was on pit road. Matthew Rodriguez and Alexander Rowe, undoubtedly their days are over as well. Well, that time everybody hit pit road, those that had stayed out under the first caution and those that pitted, and we had varying strategies on pit lane, which gives us an all-rookie top 3. Sebastian Kukulon is now the race leader. Cody Lamas lines up in 2nd. Casey Nanico, our winner from a couple weeks ago, in 3rd. Then you got Vince Almriego 4th. Chris Dollerton's now up to 5th. 6th is going to be Charles Sanford. 7th, Ryan Brommer. Johnny Gardner 8th. 9th is Jack Mitchell. And Austin LaPlante. Talk about the timing of a caution helping him. He stayed out on that last caution after coming to pit road the lap before. Still was on the lead lap, so he's going to restart up inside of the top 10. We're going to have more lap traffic to deal with on the inside line. Alexander Rowe continues on 1 lap down. Adam Garcia, who was pinned a lap down early, also going to be on that inside line. And out of the race, 3 cars that, well, 2 of them we knew were probably going to be out, but a big one as well that joins the fray. You got Zach Rogers. He's going to finish dead last in 40th, playoff contender. And then you've also got Matthew Rodriguez, and how about Trey Wright? That damage we saw him sustain in the contact with Kyle Matthews off the chicane exit. It's going to take him out of the race, and that might mean Trey Wright's going to head into Indianapolis in a must-win situation to make it in the next round. Look at some of these other drivers way back there. You got James Qualls. He was up there inside the top 10. He'll restart 32nd. Carson Gum, who was 2nd when that caution came out. He's restarting 35th, and the guy who led the first half of this race, Ryan Acosta, the pole sitter, going to restart all the way back in 34th. Now, I don't know if there was an incident on pit road, if they just had an extended stay to get the car completely full of fuel, or what, but they're going to have a lot of ground to have to make up here in the final half of this event. So we gave you the top 10. And of those top 10, 1, 2, 3, I believe, only 3 drivers are in the playoffs. Lamas restarting 2nd, Brommer in 7th, and Johnny Gardner in 8th as the green flag is back in the air here on lap 15. Kukalan going to get away with the lead. Cody Lamas trying to get around the 24 of Alexander Rowe. He clears him. Casey Nanico got around Adam Garcia. Now we'll try and get by the 24 and actually had to almost force his way in there to try and get around Alexander Rowe. Battle for 4th. Chris Dallerton, Vince Almriego. Dallerton might get the advantage here into this right-hander. And looks like he's got him cleared. Yes, he does. So Dallerton will move to the 4th spot. Charles Sanford, Johnny Gardner right there as well in 6th and 7th. Interesting strategy call there for Johnny Gardner. I looked back. There was nothing that involved Johnny Gardner as far as a wreck is concerned. Remember, we saw him running near the rear of the field, so I don't know if he maybe just messed up in one of the corners and lost momentum and lost a lot of track position. And, ooh, that was close between himself and Sanford going into that corner. And Charles Sanford lost a lot of ground. Brommer, Mitchell, and Butcher all got around him as he really had to lift to get through the chicane. Car on pit road. That is the lap car of Alexander Rowe as Kukalan puts us at 10 laps to go with hitting the stripe. Johnny Gardner now looking for the 5th position on Vince Almriego. Got the lap machine of Adam Garcia right there behind this battle as well. Ryan Brommer, we mentioned earlier that he is a former winner this season at a road course at Sonoma, so no surprise to see him up here. And Ryan Butcher, the former winner from last week at Coca-Cola, now up inside the top 10 in the 9th spot. He is also a former winner at a road course, won at Pensacola Road Course last year. There's Cole Baker right now in 11th, and how about Levi McIntyre up here in the 13th position? I remember when we ran a special event race here at Charlotte Roval, Levi McIntyre dominated the event. And Levi comes into this race 15th of the 16 playoff drivers, so he needs a good run here today after suffering a DNF and a wild barrel roll last week at Coca-Cola. We'll try and take a spot away here from Austin LaPlante, which may put them double wide going down here into the chicane. We better keep an eye on this. This might not end well. It's like LaPlante's going to be the wise man and let everybody by going into the chicane entrance. It's all about give and take going down into the entrance of that bus stop. If you do give and take, you're probably going to get through. If everybody takes and nobody gives, you're probably going to end up with a wrecked race car. Battle for 2nd. Cody Lamas has it, but he's got company. Casey Nanico and Chris Dallerton, 3rd and 4th place right behind him. This is going on about 3.5 seconds behind the race leader, Sebastian Kukalan. Now, I'm a little concerned about Kukalan, to be honest, because he did not come to pit road. He was one of the drivers that stayed out under the first caution, and then he was the first one off pit road after the second caution. I don't see how they could have possibly gotten that car completely filled with fuel if he was able to get out 6 positions higher than when he came to pit road. Nonetheless, he's a rookie, and he's seen other rookies go to victory lane this season. 2 of them you can see right there. Cody Lamas, 2-time winner. Casey Nanico, 1-time winner, as well as Alexander Rowe back at Pikes Peak. So Sebastian Kukalan wants to get himself into victory lane as well. As a matter of fact, Kukalan is the one that's trying to battle Cody Lamas for the rookie points lead as well. Cody Lamas, with 2 wins on his side, has a 7-point gap back to Sebastian Kukalan, but Sebastian could cut that back down if he can get a victory of his own here today. Drop a little further back here. You got a battle brewing. That is for, I believe, the 7th position. Ryan Brommer in the spot. Butcher in 8th. Ryan Butcher, with his victory last week, jumped up to 31st in points. He spent most of the season outside the top 30 in the points, and looks like here today he very well might be in the top 30 in the standings for the first time in I can't remember when. Great run there for Charles Sanford in 9th place as well, and you got Cole Baker in the 10th spot. Mentioned about Carson Gum, Cole Baker, Dylan Young all having good runs last week. Well, right now, out of those three, the only one that's having a good run right now is Cole Baker. And if Baker leaves today with a spot inside the top 10, he could find himself, points-wise, maybe locked into the next round, regardless of next week's events at Indianapolis. Jack Mitchell right now in the 11th spot. Good run for that McDonald's Chevrolet. There's Levi McIntyre in 12th. Keith Batson right behind him in 13th place. This is a little edgy going into this corner, and McIntyre very aggressively going to get by Adam Garcia, the lap machine, just before they got into the entrance of the chicane. Garcia being a very respectful lap machine, letting the leaders by when he can. Cody Lamas now in control of that second spot. This is the battle for third, as Johnny Gardner in fifth has joined Chris Dollerton and Casey Nanico. And Sebastian Kukalan is obviously not saving because he has opened up over a 7-second lead back to second place Cody Lamas. I still wonder, though, I don't know if that one car can make it on fuel. We're going to have to wait and see. Don't know what the fuel window really is for these drivers. We've worked 2 cautions in the first 15 laps, so we never got a clear idea of just how far these drivers can go. Nanico did not get off that corner all that well. Dollerton sticks the nose to the bottom, looking for third place. Chris Dollerton, as a matter of fact, looking back through useless statistics, but Chris Dollerton is the only driver out of the entire field this season who has not got a top 5 finish. He's got 6 finishes in the top 10, but he's yet to get a top 5. Right now he's in the 3rd spot and now looking for second on the 84 of Cody Lamas. See there as the cars bottom out. Get just a little off course there on the turtle, and it can definitely hurt your straightaway speed there on the front straightaway at the start-finish line, as Chris Dollerton now on the charge for second place. Trying to take it from Cody. He'll have the outside advantage here through this corner, and he will clear for the spot. So Chris Dollerton, in the matter of about a lap and a half, moved from 4th up to 2nd. So he's got a very fast race car, especially on the long run. Johnny Gardner now trying to get by Casey Nanico. That would be for 4th. Johnny Gardner coming into this race really soldiered on last week at Coca-Cola and manages to come into this race 9th in the playoff points. Gardner was involved in an early caution back at Coca-Cola, but still managed to get a semi-decent result from it. I believe he finished that race in the 22nd position, which doesn't sound great, but when you consider so many drivers finished behind the wall for playoff contenders, it certainly was a good run for him. And talk about good runs, Cody Lamas right now in the 3rd spot, but this is definitely what he needed after suffering a bad performance last week at Coca-Cola, coming into this race in that critical 12th position in points. He definitely needed a good run today. Even if it's not going to be a win, he needed to have a top 5, really. And he's under fire from Casey Nanico. How about Auto Junction Racing turning up the heat here during the playoffs? Nanico ended up winning the last regular season race. Ryan Butcher won the first playoff race, and both of them are up inside the top 7 right now. Nanico moving by for 3rd place on Cody Lamas, and you got his teammate 7th place, Ryan Butcher, not too far behind. Backmarker Motorsports doing pretty good here today as a team as well. You got Kukalan leading the race. Almariego's in 6th. Cole Baker back there in 8th. The only one missing is the 25 of Sean Galligan. And there he is. He's all the way back in 31st. Had that early damage from the incident in the chicane just before the start-finish line and really hasn't recovered since. Got a number of playoff contenders back here that are struggling, though. You got Michael Norman back in 28th. Carson Gums stuck back in 30th. Jordan Lopez and Matt McIntyre, they're battling right now for 32nd place. And Jesse Turner, the defending winner of this race, all the way back in 34th. And I believe he is the last car on the lead lap. Sebastian Kukalan hitting the line, now has 4 laps to go. But the question is, can he make it on fuel? Little less than 8 seconds back to second place Chris Dollarton, who I do believe can make it on fuel. I think he was of the group that came to pit road with James Qualls. Actually, now that I think of it, though, I think Kukulon actually was part of the group that came with James Qualls as well. I think he was the second car to hit pit road, so I think he actually is good to go on fuel. That would explain why he went with a fuel-only strategy under the second caution. I'm like 99.9% sure that when Qualls gave up second to come to pit road, the next car behind him, even though there was a gap to hit pit road, was the one of Kukulon. So actually now I'm wondering Kukulon probably can make it on fuel. We'll have to wait and see though, because like I said, we haven't been into a long green flag run, so we really do not know officially what the fuel window is for these drivers. Best battle right now is going to be back here. That is where Vince Almriego, Ryan Butcher, and Cole Baker are running. That is 6th, 7th, and 8th. Butcher going to drive it deep there into the chicane, trying to close up ground between himself and the 42. Cole Baker took that pretty aggressively as well. Look at Cole Baker running a slightly higher line through 3 and 4, and that's why, because pit lane is going to be busy. Casey Nanico, Johnny Gardner, they're on pit road along with Vince Almriego and Ryan Butcher. Dollarton from second place on pit road. So is Sebastian Kukulon. It now comes down to who can make it on fuel. And this is your battle for the race lead now between Cody Lamas and Cole Baker. So we get into a long green flag run. We now established that they couldn't make it the rest of the way on fuel, but somebody might risk it, might roll the dice here, as we've got a little less than 3 laps to go. If you're playoff contenders, Cody Lamas and Cole Baker, do you risk it? Do you stay out? A playoff spot could be on the line, and there's Sebastian Kukulon. Gas and go. He's going to come out still in the 3rd position after having that big gap. So I don't know. Do you risk it? You're going to hand the win potentially over to Sebastian Kukulon anyway. I don't know. We'll see what the strategy is going to be here for Lamas and Baker. I believe Levi McIntyre also stayed out. He right now is in 4th, but right now Kukulon gave up the lead to come to pit road. He still cycles into 3rd place because of the gap he had between himself and 2nd place. So if Baker and Lamas pit, they're basically giving the win to Sebastian Kukulon. Lamas is going to pit. Baker is going to stay out. Cole Baker had that good run last week at Coca-Cola, so he's got a little bit of space to be able to take a gamble like this. Cody Lamas, though, who came into this race 12th in that final position as far as moving on to the next round of the playoffs, he really couldn't afford it, so that's why I think he hit pit road. The gap was about 4.3 seconds from Baker back to Kukulon. Kukulon is not saving. He is all out right now. Baker, I think, is trying to save. And we'll see if he's got enough to be able to make it. There's Chris Dollarton, who's quite a ways back there. Wait, was that caution out? Yes, there's a wreck on the bus stop. A wreck out of the chicane. This could be what Cole Baker needed. He might be able to save fuel here, coming back to the start-finish line, and might be able to save fuel under pacing. The race will end under yellow regardless. But the question is, which Backmarker Motorsports driver is it that's going to take this checkered flag? Will it be Baker or will it be Kukulon? There you see the skid marks going into the chicane. It's going to bring out the yellow for the final time today. I couldn't exactly see who was involved altogether in that wreck. I think Sean Galligan might have been in it. And Baker, you see, did not come to pit road. He's taking the caution and the white. He's going to try and coast it here on this final lap to pick up the victory. What a strategy call for Cole Baker. The pace car will pick him up. Trying to see who might have been involved in that wreck. And my assumption is it's probably drivers that are either sitting on pit road or may already be out of this race. And there's the 25 of Galligan, one of the drivers I thought I saw. A struggling performance here today for the rookie, making his Duracell Cup Series debut. And it looks like it is going to be Cole Baker taking this checkered flag. Let's quickly go back. Take a look at a replay of what brought out the caution. One Backmarker Motorsports car wrecks, and it may be a Backmarker Motorsports car because of that that's going to take this checkered flag and move in to the round of 12. Sean Galligan was running in the 31st position at the time, trying to get around the lap machine of Adam Garcia. You see the contact before they even got into the chicane. Both cars slide sideways, and they're both going to hit that tire barrier pretty hard. Oh, wow, look at that. Driver's side for Galligan, passenger side for Adam Garcia. And then the track kind of starts getting blocked up here. And I don't know if anybody else gets involved or not. Michael Norman, Jessica Shelton did a good job getting through. I don't think anybody else gets collected up. Jesse Turner's going to get by. And they got Jordan Lopez way back there. Yeah, I think Galligan's car teleported to pit road. Adam Garcia limped his car to pit lane. It was really only a two-car incident between drivers that were running at the time in 31st and 36th. But it was enough for Cole Baker to have enough fuel under pacing to make it to the start-finish line to win this race, which we're going to go back and see right now. What a strategy call for Cole Baker, though. Deciding to stay out. I think he was going to risk it all the way anyway. He had that top 5 run last week at Coca-Cola, so why not? And Cole Baker now can shut the car on and off, save fuel here under pacing, and he will probably be able to coast it back to the start-finish line. He will best his rookie teammate Sebastian Kukelan, who if Baker had ran out of fuel or had to pit coming to the white, would have taken the victory. Chris Dollerton's going to bring it home in third. How about the comeback for Austin LaPlante? LaPlante had that incident going into the chicane earlier on. He's going to battle back for fourth, and Casey Nanico is going to bring it home in the 5th position. Cole Baker, very beginning of the season in the Daytona 500, got his first career win, was consistent enough after that victory to make it into his first playoff appearance, and we now know that he will be making his way also into the round of 12. He'll head into Indianapolis with a confirmed spot into the next round of the playoffs. Cole Baker is going to win the Bank of America 400 at the Charlotte Roval. Some other drivers that got good runs here. How about Benjamin Miles and Ryan Acosta? Remember, they lost a lot of spots on the second round of pit stops under caution. They're going to come back for 6th and 7th. Johnny Gardner and Cody Lamas, 9th and 10th, as we will have 5 playoff contenders finish this race inside of the top 10. So Cole Baker, a strategy call works out. He'll take the checkered here today. We gave you your top 10. Ryan Butcher's just barely going to finish outside the top 10 and 11th. How about Carson Gum, Ryan Brommer, Levi McIntyre? A clump of playoff contenders there, 12th, 13th, and 14th. Rest of your playoff drivers, you got Carter Friesen down there in 21st. Dylan Young, we didn't really hear much out of the Hooters Ford today. He's going to finish in 25th. Matt McIntyre and Michael Norman finished back there. They both had damage, 29th and 30th for them. Jesse Turner and Jordan Lopez finished last cars on the lead lap in the 32nd and 33rd positions. Right now, I would be a little bit worried if I were Jordan Lopez and Matt McIntyre. They came in 13th and 14th in the playoff grid, and I would be very, very worried if I were Trey Wright, finishing with a DNF in 38th, and he came in 16th, dead last of the playoff contenders. Zach Rogers, also a DNF in dead last. His situation was not as dire as he was 4th overall in the points coming to this one, but he's certainly going to lose spots in the playoff standings. We'll have to see how close to that cut line he's going to be heading into Indianapolis. As DNF drivers were Sean Galligan, tough break here for him here in his debut. Adam Garcia, Derek Hamill. We already mentioned Trey Wright, Matthew Rodriguez, and Zach Rogers. Quite a race here today, though, at Charlotte Roval. These road courses always seem to be a fuel strategy type race. That was definitely what it was here today. And Cole Baker becomes the first driver that is confirmed being in the round of 12 in round 2 of the playoffs. Next week, it's elimination round number 1 at the Yard of Bricks Indianapolis Motor Speedway. 16 drivers will enter, only 12 will move on. We know who one of them will be. Who will the other 11 be? We're going to find that out next week. Thank you all for tuning in today's race here from the Charlotte Roval. If you enjoyed it, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe to become part of the crew today. We have shown you full finish results, and these are your point stands as well as your updated playoff points heading into next week at Brickyard 400. Until then, I've been Seth Cole. You've been watching a production of NNSCRA Offline Racing at its best.